life revisit to normal? The world is shutting down. Places that were once teeming with the hustle and bustle of normal of living became ghost towns with massive restrictions placed on our lives from lockdowns and college closures to travel. Restrictions and bans on mass gatherings. It is an unparalleled global response to a disease. But when will it end and when will we be ready to get on with our lives? Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said he believes the United Kingdom can turn the tide against the outbreak within the following 12 weeks, and also the country can send coronavirus packing. But whether or not the amount of cases starts to fall within the following 3 months, then we are visiting still be far from the tip. It can take a protracted time for the tide to travel out, possibly years. What countries need is an exit strategy, how of lifting the restrictions and getting back to normal. But the coronavirus isn't visiting disappear. If you lift the restrictions that are holding the virus back, then cases will inevitably soar. We do have an infinite problem in what the exit strategy is, and thus the way we get out of this, says Mark Woolhouse, a professor of disease epidemiology at the University of Edinburgh. It's not just the United Kingdom. No country has an exit strategy. It is an oversized scientific and societal challenge. There are essentially 3 reports of this mess. Vaccination. Enough people develop immunity through infection or permanently change our behavior. Society. Each of those routes would scale back the pliability of the virus to spread. Vaccines. A minimum of 12-18 months away. A vaccine should give someone immunity so that they don't become sick if they're exposed. Immunize enough people, about 60% of the population, and also the virus cannot cause outbreaks. The concept called herd immunity. The first person was given an experimental vaccine within the US after researchers were allowed to skip the standard rules of performing animal tests first. Vaccine research goes on at unprecedented speed, but there's not any guarantee it'll achieve success and will require immunization on a worldwide scale. The best guess could also be a vaccine could still be 12 to 18 months away if everything goes smoothly. That's a protracted time to attend when facing unprecedented social restrictions during peacetime. Waiting for a vaccine mustn't be honored with the name strategy. That's not the simplest way, Professor Woolhouse told the BBC. Alternatives. No clear endpoint. The third option is permanent changes in our behavior that allow us to stay transmission rates low, Professor Woolhouse said. This could include keeping type of the measures that are put in situ, or introducing rigorous testing and isolation of patients to undertake and do to remain on top of any outbreaks. We did early detection and make contact with tracing the primary time round, and it didn't work, Professor Woolhouse adds. Developing drugs which will successfully treat a COVID-19 infection could aid the opposite strategies too. They could be used as soon as people show symptoms in an exceedingly process called transmission control to forestall them passing it on to others, or to treat patients in hospital to make the disease less deadly and reduce pressures on treatment. This might allow countries to address more cases before needing to reintroduce lockdowns. Increasing the quantity of treatment beds would have an identical effect by increasing the capacity to accommodate larger outbreaks. I asked the UK's chief medical advisor, Professor Chris Whitty, what his exit strategy was.